The fact that there's even more reasons to hate Elon that we didn't even know about is a weird sciencey fact that boggles my mind. Now, we all know Elon is just the worst, you know, because of the cars that drive into children and parked fire trucks and all the welfare money he gets while shitting on poor people, and the fact that he doesn't pay any taxes, and Twitter, and the fact that he names everything X for some stupid reason, including his child, and the fact that he destroyed like the entire government and programs that real people rely on while somehow not saving us any money and spending more money. And also giving himself a bunch more government contracts where he pays himself with our money, and hacking in and stealing all of our personal and private financial and medical information and probably giving it to Russia. Oh, and his raging drug problem that always makes him act like an idiot, and then him blaming himself acting like an idiot on autism. Oh, and of course the Nazi stuff. You can't forget the Nazi stuff. But in addition to all of those reasons to hate Elon and the many, many other reasons to hate Elon that I don't have time to put in this video, there's a new one. And that's the fact that he is fucking up astronomy and on track to make an entire field of astronomy impossible to do. So satellites are one of man's greatest creations. The modern world doesn't do modern world shit without satellites. From television to telecommunications, GPS to internet, to the aerial pictures of your house that pretty much put the people who fly around in planes and randomly take pictures of your house and then put it in a cheap frame and come to your door and try to sell it to you out of business. Actually, they're not out of business because I had a dude come and do that to me the other day. A motherfucker knocked on my door and tried to charge me $500 for a picture of my own goddamn house. Yeah, for all of you who are like, what the hell are you talking about? This is a thing that happens in the country. Like, if you've got property, you know, out here, people just fly over your house and take a picture and then try to sell it to you. In fact, you'd be hard-pressed to walk into any farmhouse in the 80s and not find a picture of that house hanging on the wall of that house. Also, door-to-door salesman, it's 2025. Can you fucking not? Like, unless you're the goddamn Schwans, man, I don't want to see you. And even then, it is strictly for nostalgic reasons, and I'm probably still not going to buy anything, because that shit's expensive. But absolutely nothing is going to make me not buy something faster than you making me put fucking pants on and answer the goddamn door so you can try to sell me overpriced frozen meat or a picture of my own fucking house. Also, your little tactic of dropping the price another 25% every time I tell you no, I'm not interested, only pisses me off more. Because if you can really sell that shit to me for 75% less than what you first pitched it to me as, like, you are out here ripping people off. And save it, I know I'm not your last house and you just want to go home and you're just trying to offload it. I can't always be the last fucking house. Sorry, what was this about again? All right, fucking Elon. So, like, satellites and the internet, which are two things that function together, make modern life possible, and door-to-door sales unnecessary. So fucking stop. Now, despite all the things that satellites have done for humanity, they are not without their problems. There's obviously national security and privacy concerns because you can be spied on without ever fucking knowing it. There's environmental concerns because they need a rocket to get into space, and rockets burn a lot of fucking fuel. There's those problems of, like, when they fall out of the sky, sometimes pieces of them make it all the way to the ground, and that can be, you know, problematic if you get hit on the head or the house. And then there's the space junk problem. There's currently 12,000 active satellites orbiting Earth right now, with plans to bring that number up to nearly 1 million. It's a lot of stuff out there moving really fast, and that can be problematic. But in addition to all of that, they are blotting out the sky. Occasionally you can see one cruising through the night sky like a shooting star, and it may not seem that bright, but when you have that many of them up there, they are actually very bright. Just like light from cities is making it harder to see the stars, light from satellites is doing the same. Which is obviously a problem for astronomers looking through telescopes trying to see the sky. But astronomers see the cosmos in other ways as well. And one of those is that they listen to the stars via radio waves. Radio telescopes all over the world let us see things that you can't actually see with visual light. They allow us to see back in time and pick up radio waves that were released during the Big Bang. They allow us to pick up signals from stars and black holes. And because everything in space is constantly moving really fast and the universe is constantly expanding, ground-based radio satellites are what we use to determine where we are in relation to other things in the universe. And they do a lot of other big brain sciencey shit I don't understand. The point is that these are kind of a big deal, and of course, if anybody could find a way to fuck that up, it would be Elon. See, of those 12,000 active satellites, 8,000 of them are Starlink. That's 60% of them, and all of them have been put into orbit since 2019, so they're a pretty new addition to the night sky. The point is that Elon's space junk is just all up in our faces. Well, Elon's space junk has a habit of exploding prematurely long before it reaches climax. His other problem is that his space junk is leaking, mostly because of all of the ketamine. But here's the thing, is satellites emit radio signals. It's how they communicate. And radio signals happen to interfere with radio radio telescopes. Obviously, if you're trying to pick up radio signals that might be aliens from billions of light years away, and you got a bunch of giant walkie-talkies flying around, it makes it a little hard to fucking hear. But in the past, when organizations that weren't run by drug-addled Nazi man-children were launching satellites, they made a point to mitigate those problems. They broadcast on frequencies that aren't used as often by radio telescopes. They have quiet spaces where the satellite goes dark when it passes over radio telescopes, and they seal them up so they leak as little radio radiation as possible when they're not being used. Starlink satellites don't do any of that shit. They're out there leaking radio radiation all over us. I actually think it's the trickle down that Ronald Reagan was talking about. And they do this because it's cheaper to just let them leak all of this radio radiation than to build them, so they don't. And they knew this was a problem because astronomers told them it was a huge fucking problem when they launched the first gen Starlink satellites. And then Starlink's like, oh yeah, we'll fix that, and then they didn't. In fact, the second gen Starlink satellites leak even worse than the first gen ones. And this is making radio telescopes incredibly difficult to use and far less effective. And at this rate, it won't be long before they're rendered completely useless, cutting us off from an important connection to the cosmos. And while Starlink is the biggest offender right now, other companies are looking to compete and send up their own private satellites, which will only make the problem worse. Now, this could be mitigated pretty effectively with strict regulations on how much satellites are allowed to leak, but DOGE has obliterated pretty much any agency that would regulate it like they were a SpaceX rocket about to take off. So here we are, once again, getting screwed by Elon space junk in new and uncomfortable positions. So unless we start getting real French with the oligarchs here soon and sever the heads of power that allow this to happen, so to speak, it's only going to get worse. And the fact that without stopping SpaceX from sending its shitty Starlink satellite systems asunder, scientists and astronomers will cease seeing space, well, that is sadly mind-boggling.